Good evening, everyone. I'd like to bring the January 18, 2017 meeting of the Interboro School Board and School District to order. May we have a roll call, Mrs. Caldwell, and Mr. Burns, can we have an invocation and a pledge of allegiance?
Ms. Boyle?
Here.
Mr. Chavone?
Here.
Mr. McGarvey?
Here.
Mr. Phelps?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Burns?
Here.
Mrs. DiBattista? Here. Mr. Harris?
Present.
Heavenly Father, please hear our prayer. Bless all schools, colleges, and especially the Interboro School District, and grant to this board in their deliberations this evening the spirit of wisdom, truth, and knowledge. What is undertaken always be done in charity and in peace, and what we do might be for the benefit of others. All this we ask in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, seeing as how we have a packed house, I'm going to be extra nervous, so bear with me here. No, I'm kidding. We now hear from our student reports from Katie and Ariana. Take it away, please.
From the Kindergarten Academy, everyone had a great day as they listened to the Polar Express read-through. The conductor was Mr. Mack. These Toys for Tots collection was a great success. Thank you to all the generous donations.
At Glen Olden, students had a winter concert performance at 1:30 in the afternoon and at 7 at night for families before break. Our 8th graders held their annual mentor breakfast and had a chance to invite someone who influenced their life.
From Prospect Park, their holiday dances were a success. Many attended. Their student council collected over 750 pounds of canned food for loaves and fishes. Thanks to the Prospect community, 25 families received gifts this year. 12 were sponsored by the staff and local businesses. On the last day of school in December, Prospect's Pajama Day raised $823 and was kindly donated to CHOP.
Norwood's 4th grade chorus went caroling December 22nd for our retired crossing guard, Mr. Bob. December 23rd, students and faculty had a wonderful time during the holiday sing-along.
From Tinicum School, on December 7th, they held their winter concert. It went very well. On the 22nd, they held their holiday breakfast, sponsored by Home and School. It was a fun way to start off their break.
The Interboro High Q team beat teams from Bonner and Prendy and Valley Forge Military Academy during their first match of the year hosted by Bonner and Prendy on December 6th. Shout out to Lauren Schnell for her strong second half performance. The concert band, jazz band, concert choir, intertonics, and select choir had a very successful concert December 16th. The following Friday, the choir held a coffee house where students performed acoustic music. The senior class trip to New York was December 14th. We went to lunch at Ellen's Stardust Diner and then to see A Bronx Tale or Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Thank you for your support of another successful American Red Cross blood drive. 88 units of blood were donated on December 22nd. Thank you for all who contributed. This concludes our report.
Thank you again, Katie and Ariana. They always do a great job. Ladies, you may leave after my report because you have to stay for mine. All righty. We're going to move on to the next area, to Superintendent Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. At this time, could I ask the board members to please have a seat down in the audience? Thank you. Good evening. I would like to welcome our community members, parents, administrators, teachers, and staff. And I'd like to extend a welcome to Congressman Pat Meehan and Senator Tom McGarrigle, who are joining us here this evening for our recognition presentation. Interboro was very fortunate this year to be the recipients of the 2016 State Farm Youth Advisory Board grant totaling close to $99,000. Our application was titled Interboro Aquaponics Lab, Bringing Sustainable Living to Our Students and Community. This grant was a collaborative process that included the Curriculum and Instruction Office, high school administrative team, Mr. Tom Spear, Joe Fisher, and their students. At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Spear, Mr. Fisher, and our students who will present to you the vision of the Interboro High School Aquaponics program and lab space. Join us.
All right, so behind me is going to be our projected lab. Right there is kind of the scene of our electric and our ventilation. It's going to skip into some future scenes here real soon. So we're going to add kind of a viewing window, and my students will go through it and they'll explain it a lot more in detail. We're going to add more labs or more systems to it, a sink, ventilation. You can see we're going to add a lot more fish tanks. Basically, we're going to triple in size as far as food production, fish production. All this stuff is organic. It's all, kind of sustainable living. That's kind of the direction we're going with teaching the students here. I get a lot of questions always, how did I start this? I had kind of an agricultural upbringing, grew up on a little farm. When I got to Millersville, I had a little bit of it in my coursework there at college. We had an aquaponics and a hydroponics unit. And then the big thing is, I guess it was 3 years ago, I kind of incorporated a small project in my biotech unit in my intro to tech class. And the students' interest was huge in there. We're kind of using recycled milk jugs and soda bottles to build these little systems. And me and Mr. Fisher, we realized that the kids were really into this, raising fish, growing plants. And it's kind of that whole cross-curriculum approach, the STEM approach, which is science, technology, engineering, math. So then from there, me and Mr. Fisher, we built a small kind of, one family unit, something that you could have in your basement or in a restaurant. And the kids really enjoyed that. And we just kind of kept growing the program. Then last year, we got the class of 2016. They donated a small amount of money to us, and we were able to spread it out. And we built what you guys saw tonight down in the room. So up until that point, that was done through me and Mr. Fisher in the class 2016. What we're going to do with the State Farms grant, and the kids will explain it more, is we're going to really triple in size. We're going to, hopefully, we've got future plans, kind of push out, do solar panels, take everything off the grid almost, do it all self-sufficient. And then hopefully push out and do a greenhouse down the road. That's kind of our 5-year plan. We don't want to stop here after this one grant. We want to keep applying for more grants and keep pushing it. The ideas for this lab, I had my first year biotech class design their kind of dream aquaponics lab, and then I, took their ideas and I formed this 3D design. So my students are going to kind of work through a PowerPoint slide and explain the different areas of the room and how they're going to work. So if we could switch to the PowerPoint. So this is projected for the spring of next year.
I'll be discussing the new lab. The remodeling will consist of floor drains, electrical outlets, ventilation, and the addition of a sink. The room will provide different areas for breeding fish and growth stages, as well as 4 recirculating aquaponic systems for the production of fish. And in addition to that, we'll be adding a larger window, a viewing window. Much of the design and the construction of this window will be completed with the help of the engineering classes and the wood tech classes, along with their instructors, Mr. Fisher and Mr. Spear.
Our broodstock consists of a hybrid tilapia. We crossbreed a male Wami tilapia whose genetic makeup consists of a ZZ chromosome with a female red Mozambique that consists of an XY chromosome. This produces a natural all-male pennyfish tilapia hybrid, and the male are really good because they grow the fastest and they also have the larger fillets. Then fry, it's baby fish. The 10-gallon aquariums house fry from 1/4 of an inch in length up to 2 inches. And then each student in the biotech class will be individually responsible for maintaining an aquarium with daily feed, water changes, testing the water chemistry, just making sure that the fish are growing and staying good.
Okay, so this is the fingerling 30-gallon ball. Fingerling is the name for juvenile fish roughly the size of your finger. These 30-gallon aquariums will house fish from 2 inches up to 4 inches. Students will personally be responsible for daily upkeep of the fingerling water quality.
All right. So tilapia are grown in the wow. All right. Tilapia are grown in the recycled yeah.
Got your script?
Yeah, I remembered it perfectly fine.
Oh, she put you on the wrong page.
I'm just extremely nervous right now.
Made you care.
Yeah.
There you go. Right here. IBC totes.
All right, thank you. The final stage of fish growth is completed in recycled food-grade IBC totes. Here is where the fish will reach their harvest size of 12 to 14 inches, roughly 1.5 pounds. And the totes are the cube-shaped reservoirs up there.
The purge tank is an additional step not commonly done in industrial aquaculture or fish farming. This extra step before processing the full-grown fish will purge them of all toxins by fasting and an increase in salinity or salt over 5 days. This finished touch will leave the fillets with a sweet and clean flavor.
The original aquaponics system will be connected in a series with an addition of a starter bed and Dutch bucket system. Plants will go through the germination process in the starter bed using rock wool and net pots. The Dutch bucket system will house large type plants using a drip system technique. These larger plants will consist of tomatoes, peppers, squashes, eggplants, cucumbers, and melons, along with other things.
The 300-gallon grow-out tanks will supply plants in the float beds and media beds with nutrient-rich water. Deep water culture or float beds use a raft system that floats on the surface of the water and allows lettuce roots or other plant roots to be suspended in the water. The ebb and flow beds use expanded clay and a bell siphon to produce a continuous flood and drain process. The flooding and draining allows the roots to get oxygen and then roughly get water every 20 minutes.
So in conclusion, sum it all up, the end result, the systems are going to produce a lot of lettuce, definitely a lot of fillets, a lot of tilapia fillets. End result, we're going to be working with the special ed department and the Life Links class, and bi-weekly or every week, the food would be distributed out to less advantaged individuals in the community through kind of a care package setup. So every 2 weeks they would get that. It's going to be an organic product when we're all said and done. Our future plans, like I was saying, cross-curricular activities, working with the TV studio for how-to videos, working with family and consumer science. We want to do a farm-to-table unit where they would kind of present, meals using our products. Even working with the business department for marketing and sales. And down the road, once it's all said and done, we want to seek organic certification and FDA approval, which would be an attainable process. And like I was saying in the room, we really want to continue to grow this. We want to, we don't want to stop here, and we want to keep pushing for more grants. And hopefully, if we could, get solar panels, things like that, possibly take the whole room, make it self-sufficient, get it off the grid, or we could even sell the energy back and kind of make profit off of this, selling it back to PICO. So that's kind of our 5-year plan down the road. And like I was saying, the greenhouse bumping out. So to sum it all up, I want to thank my students. I want to thank State Farms. I want to thank the Interboro community, the school administration, school board, and my colleagues for continued help, support, and dedication to kind of developing this cutting edge lab and helping to move it through the future here. So thank everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. At this time, I'd like to recognize our student presenters. We had Dan McKenna, Connor McCluskey, Nicole Cheesem, Brenna Malloy, Carly Quinn, Brandon Wisdom, and Joe Zagami. Thank you all very much. Joining us this evening from State Farm is Dwayne Redd, the Community Field Specialist, and our State Farm rep who helped us with the grant, Vicki Neal, who is also an Interboro alum and resident. Thank you, Dwayne.
Well, thank you very much. I'm excited to be here tonight to talk about the Interboro Aquaponics Lab for a lot of reasons. One is I live in the community. I graduated here. Some of the teachers in this school, some of the people in this room had a direct impact on me being in the position I am today, which ultimately put us in a position to collaborate with State Farm and really make this aquaponics lab take it to the next level. So I have a son who is a sophomore taking the class next semester, super excited, and now my daughter who's in 7th grade can't wait to go back and tell all of her friends about it. But I think what's most important, besides being so grateful to State Farm that they were able to help bring this together, how proud I am of, the teachers and the students and that, the administration supporting this situation, that might not have been the case. But there's a lot of things going on in this community that we should be really proud of, and this is just another opportunity to tell people about the good things that are happening. And I think that's what's important to me, is that we use this as leverage to get out there and really get the kids involved. But that's the most amazing part. Listening to the kids wanting to be a part of a classroom like they've never talked about it before. And I don't know about you, but that's super exciting in my world. Taking a kid that doesn't show very much enthusiasm about anything and seeing the enthusiasm about that class, that's a real testament to you guys. So congratulations and thank you. Interboro was one of 3 schools to win this Youth Advisory Board grant in the state of Pennsylvania. And $99,000 is a huge, huge amount of money, and we were very, very hopeful. But I think you should know that behind the scenes, with Bernadette's support and certainly, Ryan and everyone, they didn't just write a grant. They spent hours and hours and hours putting this together with the teachers to make sure that they won. And for that, I'm grateful to all of you. I'm grateful to State Farm. Thank you so much for our special guests in the audience. And I look forward to seeing what comes out of this and what comes next. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dwayne Redd. I work for State Farm. As Bernadette said earlier, I am the community specialist for State Farm in our public affairs department. I actually work for Vicki because basically Vicki gave me a call. And she said, you have to come to my high school. I said, what do I need to come to your high school for? You have to see this program, the aquaponics program at Interboro High School. And then we sat on the phone and I talked to Ryan over the phone, like he said earlier, and I couldn't get a picture. So I had to come by and see it. I didn't know I was walking into a room filled with fish and filled with everything that was in it. I was amazed by what's going on in this school. It's a wonderful program. This community should be proud of what's going on in this school. But they are one of 3 in the state of Pennsylvania. They're one of 23 on the Eastern Seaboard to get a Youth Advisory Board grant this year. As you hear State Farm say, like a good neighbor, we hear part of that is making a positive difference in the communities where we work and live. And we do that through the Youth Advisory Board program. The Youth Advisory Program is a group of 30 students that are 17 to 21 years old. They have a budget of $5 million. Yes, I said 17 to 21-year-olds have a budget of $5 million to give out service learning grants to organizations and schools like Interboro High School. They gave them, as you can see, $98,292.36. But yes, they look at service learning as a great vehicle to keep our students engaged in school. We were talking earlier, the number of subjects and topics that they are doing through this program is amazing. Chemistry, biology, math, it's all intertwined in this one program. But these students, as you see, are very involved with this program. It keeps them engaged. It keeps them understanding that they can accomplish whatever they want to accomplish in life. And that's what service learning is about. It's learning by doing. And they're doing great things in this school. And we're very proud to participate in this program. So I just wanted to come up and say that everyone in this community should be proud of what's going on in this school. The students, I want to speak directly to you. You guys should be very proud of what you're doing. Mr. Spears, you guys are doing wonderful things. Be proud of what you're doing. We at State Farm are very proud of what's going on right here. As you can see, we don't do a lot of things at State Farm by ourselves. We do things as a family. Vicki called me into her family, which is Interboro High School, to work with you guys to present the grant and talk to you about the grant and work with you to the grant. I have one of my peers here, David Tiedemann. He's from our corporate law department. Him and I talk a lot. And when he heard about the program, he had to see it for his own eyes. He wanted to come out and see this because he couldn't believe, just like I did, that this was going on in communities where we work and live. So we just wanted to come out and support this. We support the students all across the country, but we definitely want to support the students here at Interboro High School and say congratulations to you again for being selected for this grant. And I just basically want to thank Bernadette for your time. Mr. Johnson, thank you for your time as well. Mr. Spears and Mr. Fisher, I want to come back and see that. Please give me a call because I think that's great. I know the money came from State Farm, but it's just great to see that you are doing some of the things that you're doing with your students to keep them engaged in school. So please give me a call when you guys are doing everything you're doing. So I just think that's great. And I just also want to say to our guests that are here with us today, thank you, gentlemen, for showing up. They would like to say a few words. So before I leave, I just would like to please welcome State Senator Thomas McGargle to come up and say a few words, please.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. Bernadette, I think I heard earlier there's great things going on in this school district, and there are. And this is just one example. I'd like to congratulate the two teachers here for thinking outside the box, coming up with great ideas how to teach kids and teach these kids and keep them interested in something new. We certainly didn't have these type of programs when I was in high school many years ago, and I'm always so proud to be here and represent Interboro School District, and I'd like to recognize all the school board members here tonight and thank you for your services. It's probably one of the most thankless jobs that anyone ever does in an elected office, and probably one of the most important jobs that you do, running the schools in this Commonwealth, so I thank you for that. I'm very honored to be here and congratulate the students and the teachers on doing a fine job, and keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Next, we'd like to have Congressman Pat Meehan to come and say a few words, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dwayne. We got a chance to see the small fry, and I want to come back for the fish fry when we are done at the very end. I want to thank, I really want to express my just how excited I am to watch the whole program and the way that it's unfolded. It really is an impressive project. It's so nice for State Farm to recognize it with the significant financial support that you have given to them. But when you see the program and it really reflecting the broad spectrum of what education, especially cross education that supports itself in the various ways, the STEM model and the various pieces, not just the science, but the industrial arts. Joe Fisher was explaining to me how the students have come in, designed the whole program. You're seeing people who are going to learn how to put together a meal that will be a part of what the future could be with sustainable environments. So the STEM piece of it, in my mind, is in and of itself a remarkable accomplishment. But I also want to just recognize and congratulate Ed Harris, Bernadette Riley, the superintendent, and Ryan Johnston, the principal, for your supporting the entrepreneurial spirit of your teachers and allowing them to branch out of the set curriculum. We are dealing with so many issues and challenges in education today with the mandates that are coming down. And there's a lot of discussion about keep education local and give a chance to allow the teachers to teach. And your encouragement of having teachers who, instead of, no, this is the curriculum, we've got to teach this, we've got to get ready for the test, but encouraging them, and this now demonstrates itself not only in the nature of the curriculum, but as Tom was explaining to me, the number of students within 1 year looking to get into the course doubling. And you can imagine that this will be the thing as was identified right on down. Vicki was talking about her daughter in the 7th grade who will look forward to it. So, so much thanks to State Farm for your significant commitment and a recognition that this is a very special honor, one of only 3 to be selected throughout the state. That in and of itself says a great deal, but as well in what it reflects in terms of the way you've managed it. So congratulations and best of luck.
Thank you very much. I've been in Interboro a long time, and nights like this where we really get to highlight the work that we do is what makes me the most proud to be the superintendent of Interboro School District. And I think it really is a collaborative community effort here. It's people like Vicki Neal, the dedication of our board members, our administrators, who really put the time and effort in to make these things happen, our teachers. So on behalf of the team, I want to thank everyone who had a piece in putting this together. Our curriculum office, Dr. Ekman, Mr. Avidable, who spent a lot of hours writing this grant, supporting the high school team. It's going to come to fruition in a matter of time, and we're very excited about supporting the community. It really does reflect the work that we do here. So on behalf of the board, the teachers, the administrators, thank you so much for coming out. We do appreciate your support, and we will all have you back when the lab is complete for hopefully some full A. I'm looking forward to that. And thank you so much for coming this evening. We'll take about 30 seconds and do some shifting around, but thank you again.
Oh, thank you. That would be a part of
Mike, thank you so much.
Yeah, no. Are you ready?
Thank you all so much.
I'll see you there.
Okay, David, thank you.
Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it. That was exciting. What a fantastic time for us, especially for the board. We're on to public comment. Mr. Burns.
We have one person for public comment tonight, Ms. Phyllis Floyd from Prospect Park.
Good evening, Phyllis Floyd, 604 14th Avenue in Prospect Park. And I would like to commend the teachers, the students, but also the fact that we have one of our alumni, Vicki, be a part of this. And she makes me proud being an alumni myself. So great job. And this is what we are able to see from our students. There's so many good people out there that have graduated from Interboro that have taken away something positive. So keep that in mind, girls. I also, usually January is School Board Recognition Month, so I don't see it on the agenda, but I want to recognize and acknowledge each and every one of you. Since I did serve for so many years, I know what goes into it, the time, the frustration, and the commitment. So I personally would like to acknowledge each and every one of you, and thank you. Thank you for all the work you do, and make us proud. Another thing I would like to bring up is that at the public comment, not just here, but also at the GBO meeting, as well as the finance meeting and the work session, we have been advised that we can ask questions, but no answers, specific answers will be given. And it was explained to me, and I understand for time reasons. I would like to thank Mrs. DiBattista. I'm to understand you're responsible. You heard and understood the need to have the agenda that's being reviewed for the public to follow along, because it's difficult, as a member of the public, to know what's going on. And I'm glad that you encouraged and got the rest of the board, to go ahead with that. What I'm asking now is, I did do what Mr. Harris advised me to do, and send a letter to him and or Mrs. Riley with my questions that I had from the finance meeting, and I did do that. Unfortunately, I didn't get a response back for quite a while from Mrs. Riley. And then when Mr. Harris, when I brought it to his attention, he went and brought it to her attention. And the fact of the matter is, supposedly my email got caught in spam. I don't know how that happened because all of you got that information I sent you via email. So my address has never been in spam before, so it's something that if in fact it was in spam, was it intentionally put there because individuals can do that, or maybe it's a problem that our Director of Technology needs to look into, because if my silly request or letter went into spam, how many other community members or parents go into spam? And, we're not going to have that open communication that Mr. Harris is trying desperately, to promote. So with that said, I'll end it with, I did finally get a response, not from Mrs. Riley. I still have not heard from her acknowledging my request, but she did forward it to Mr. High School, and he sent me a response, and apparently I wasn't specific enough, so I'll send another request. And Mrs. Riley turned it into a right to know, and I did not fill out a form for a right to know. So I guess that's where the confusion came into hand. But the fact is that I'd like to thank Mr. Harris, and I appreciate all he's doing to try to have transparency and open communication and understanding with the public. So thank you, Mr. Harris. And if you could just maybe look into that issue of spam, not for me, but for anybody that's trying to make contact with the school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Floyd. We'll look into that for you. I appreciate it. Have a good evening. Number 5, Mr. Burns.
Number 5 minutes, motion 5.1, that the following minutes of the regular meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors held on December 21st, 2016 be approved. Can I get a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed 8-0. Number 6, Solicitor's Report.
Thank you, Mr. President. This month, our office has been providing consultation on contract review, day-to-day student issues, and special education issues, as well as right-to-know requests. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Burns, number 7.
Number 7, financial. I will read both motions. 7.1, motion that the attached treasurer's report for the month ending December 31st, 2016 be approved. And 7.2, motion that the fund disbursements, the amount of $6,665,102.55 be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 8-0.
Number 8, no correspondence tonight, President Harris.
Thank you so much, Mr. Burns. Number 9, committee reports.
10.1, finance meeting. The finance meeting was held on Monday, January 9, 2017. It commenced at 7:05 p.m. Various issues were discussed amongst the board and administration. Mr. High School had presented bond issuances for the HVAC project, and also, which is the last phase for the energy project from a few years ago in the last school to be completed. We specifically discussed bond counsel and underwriting, and additional costs if there are other projects that would be added on, and with a cap at $10 million. We also discussed 2017 and 18 budget projections, as well as a 5-year projection. And then as well, we also reviewed financial statements and discussed preliminary index resolutions for this year, which is at max amount is 3.4% for the index. There were also some questions about departmental budgets with historics and projections, and the meeting adjourned at 7:50 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. GBO, Mrs. Boyle.
GBO meeting started Monday, January 9, 2017. There was 4 topics on the agenda. The first one was a presentation by Dr. Ekman and Mark Adabal to review the biology textbooks along with the online resources for science. A pilot was performed during the fall semester, and the students learned, the engagement of all the students increased. The 6 years license will be $37,000 paid through district funds. 9th grade honors and 10th grade biology students will have all the resources of the online science platform. The second agenda was the feasibility study presented by George Wolhoff from Morado and Maine. And the board would be working to prioritize the various projects for future work to be completed. The third item on the agenda was Johnson's Control overview of the Glendolden HVAC Phase 4. Preventive maintenance after the phase is completed, after a completion rolling in preventive maintenance to keep up with the equipment. We can get a copy of the presentation to be sent to all school board members. The last and final item on the GBO agenda was a policy revision from Paul Corinth, Program 100.113.4, confidential of special education student information. Recommendations from PSBA to update last revision on 2011. That's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Boyle. Legislation, Mr. Burns, we get to hear from you again.
Just a couple things. Obviously, we have a transition of power that's occurring later in the week with the inauguration of President-elect Trump. Yesterday, there were hearings conducted for the U.S. Secretary of Education and President-elect Trump's selection of Betsy DeVos, which sort of ties into some of the discussions I had in the past legislative reports with charter schools. It's important to take note of what's happening at a federal level because this individual, the private sector, used vast resources to expand charter schools and private school voucher programs. So the underlying theme potentially with her will be one of choice, which certainly presents issues for public education and the way funding is currently in present day. Another federal matter I'd like to bring to everyone's attention involves the Supreme Court in a hearing that was last week on Wednesday, the 11th of January. And essentially that question was whether or not public schools owe disabled children some education benefit at a certain level, which has been in place since 1982, a case heard by the Supreme Court, or if it should be expanded to a more substantial, meaningful benefit. And these oral arguments are not only important just on their face, but with the new administration and having the ability to appoint justices, this depending on how the Supreme Court rules, this could be an issue that's revisited. The specific issue in this case was an individual that had an IEP, did not feel that the IEP offered by the public school was appropriate and provided the education that was necessary. And the family of this child felt that they needed to move to a private school at a cost of $70,000 per year. And they felt that they were denied their free appropriate public education. And now it has reached the highest court for determination. I will follow up on this when there's a decision reached. And that sort of trickles down into what's going on locally. You just heard Congressman Meehan mention mandates, and in line with mandates, how Congress and the Senate in Pennsylvania passes these mandates on to school districts. There's presently a combined House bill and Senate bill, it's number 76, where they're seeking the abolition of local property taxes. I mentioned this last year, I believe it was in the October meeting. It was up and it died quickly, thankfully, right before the presidential election, but it's being revisited. And what this would essentially do is eliminate and phase out and then eventually eliminate the property taxes, as well as completely abolish homestead, farmstead, and business tax. So again, I will track this and I will continue to update on it, but this would be a drastic change in where funding would come from and could result in tax increases in other areas, including income tax and sales tax. So it's substantial to pay attention to these things and how they intertwine.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Delaware County Community College, Mr. McGarvey.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I will be attending the Liaison Committee meeting
on Wednesday, January 25th at 7 p.m. at the Marple main campus. I will draft a summary of that meeting and give everyone an update at next month's meetings. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. McGarvey. Up next, Delaware County Intermediate Unit, Mr. Harris. Hey, wait, that's me. The Delaware County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors met on January 4th, 2017. Approved to continue a partnership between DCIU and Head Start and the Upper Darby School District. An acceptance on June 30th, 2016 audits for DCIU and DCTS. Approve a 5-year lease with Rico USA Incorporated. Approve an agreement with Colonial School District to provide professional development services. Approve to provide professional development service to the Reading School. Approve a field trip with 44 students and 5 advisors to attend the Skills USA Pennsylvania District 2 competition. For more news and information, go to dciu.org. That is my end of my report. Ladies, you may leave. Thank you so much for your time. Mr. Burns, number 10, please.
Whereas the following matters are presented for action by the Interboro Board of School Directors, therefore be at number 10, personnel. Motion that the following personnel actions be approved, 10.1 through 10.11.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Number 11, Mr. Burns.
Office of Curriculum and Instruction, motion that the following items be approved, 11.1 through 11.3.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Number 12, please, Mr. Burns.
Office of Special Education and Pupil Services, motion that the following items be approved, 12.1 through 12.3.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes 8-0. Number 13, Mr. Burns.
From the Office of Finance, motion that the following items be approved, 13.1 through 13.3.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from the board, please? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Number 14.
Number 14, this is a roll call motion. Motion that the Board of School Directors approve a cost proposal from Houghton Mifflin Harcourt for the HMH Biology 2017 textbooks to be paid from district funds not to exceed $37,294.80.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. This is a roll call vote.
Ms. Boyle?
Aye.
Mr. Chavone?
Aye.
Mr. McGarvey?
Aye.
Mr. Phelps?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBattista? Yes. Mr. Harris?
Yes. Motion passes 8-0. Number 15, Mr. Burns.
Motion that the Board of School Directors approve the revision of the following policies in the category of programs. 100 programs. 113.4 confidentiality of special education student information.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Any old business? None? Anybody? Anybody? Going once, going twice? New business.
Superintendent comment?
No new business. We will move to superintendent comments. I'd ask the board to please go down into the audience once more, please.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Yes, we do have another very brief presentation for School Directors Recognition Month. Thank you, and I appreciate your patience as we step down again off the stage. As was mentioned earlier, January is School Directors Recognition Month, which honors members of local boards for their commitment to provide quality public education for our children. School directors generously contribute their time and talents to the advancement and success of public schools. This is a year-round commitment that often goes unrecognized, as Senator McGarrigle said earlier in his speech. I thought we'd change it up a little bit this year, and usually I'm the only one who's giving the thanks, so I thought maybe it would be nice for you to hear from the students. With that, could we show our video?
Thank you for making Interboro great.
For the new technology like Chromebooks.
For supporting our school. For your service to our community. Thank you for this great kindergarten. For hiring great teachers. Thank you, School Board, for providing us technology to learn.
For all the new textbooks for our classes.
Thank you for making Interboro great. For picking our best for learning. For making this a great place to learn.
And making our school all it can be.
Thank you, School Board!
Thank you for the sports club and other activities you have provided for us. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for volunteering.
Thank you, School Board, for all you do.
Thank you for leading our schools. Thank you for making our school better. For art, for music, for recess. Thank you for creating a successful.
It sounds so much better when it comes from our kids, doesn't it? Okay. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank you, our board members, Bob Mobley, and our administrators who helped us put this together very quickly. We do have a certificate to recognize each of you, so I'd like you to come up, please. Mr. Harris. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Deb DiBattista. Michael Burns. Mr. Phelps. Ms. Boyle. Mr. Evans. Mr. McGarvey. Thank you. Mr. Chavone. And also Mr. Eckert, who's not here this evening. Also, in your folders, you received some cards from our students. I'd like to thank Ms. Julio's class for completing those with her students. So on behalf of the administration, I would like to thank you all for the job that you do, the support that you give our administrative team, and especially our students, who the work that you do does not go unnoticed. And tonight, the aquaponics program, that is proof that the work that you are doing here in Interboro is having wonderful, wonderful effect on our district. So thank you so much, and I appreciate the extra couple minutes to do this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, that's a tough act to follow. Just go home. I don't know where to go from here. Sorry, no, we do have other things. Any comments from board members?
Comment? It's an honor and privilege to serve on this board, and I want to thank the students for preparing that presentation. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to the other board members as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGarvey. Any other comment, please? Hearing none? Okay. Monday, February 6, 2017, a Finance Committee meeting with the GBO meeting immediately following will be held at 7 p.m. at the Boardroom Administrative Building. The next work session of the Interboro School Board of Directors will be convened at the Boardroom at the Administration Building on Monday, February 13th, 2017 at 7 p.m. And the next regular monthly public meeting for the Interboro School Board of Directors will be convened in the auditorium at the high school on Wednesday, February 15th, 2017 at 7 p.m. As of that, we are adjourned. Have a wonderful evening and thank you for coming out.